pass the information, you see when we share resources in different levels, there are ways to pass the information. Okay, please remember that for covert channels, we are going to need someone from the inside. Okay, and now we can look about the covert channels exactly or literally by the name, which is similar to a channel that some terrorist organization can use in order to smuggle things or get inside, I don't know, from Gaza to Israel, let's say. So that's the idea. Again, Alice and Bob. Alice has top secret clearance. Bob has confidential clearance. You see, they both work at the same organization. Suppose the file space shared by all users. Okay, so there is as I mentioned before, there is some shared resource. Alice create a file with a specific name, and if she puts the file inside this folder, it means a bit of 1, okay? And if the file is not inside the folder, so the bit is going to be 0, okay? That's the information that Alice passed to Bob. And now Bob can read this, see this file and get the information, and that's about it.
Sorry, how did you get the information in the file?
No need. It's not the information. It's not the file. The information is that the file exists in the folder. Okay, and that's the bit of 1. Okay. If the file is inside, it's like I'm saying, sending you a signal of 1. If it's not inside the folder, it's a signal of 0. And you are going to monitor or to audit the folder, and that way you can get the information. Okay?
No, I understand.
Okay, now you understand? So, okay guys, so what we are going to need, let's try to elaborate that. What we are going to need in order to pass the information, like what are the conditions? Let's try to find the conditions that are needed in order to get this cover channel
So you need two insiders, Alice and Bob.
Oh,
you need
okay.
you need a file system where Alice could write to it and
Okay,
Bob could read to it.
It's
It could be
Alice need to be able to change the content of the folder. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, she doesn't even need to know what's inside of it. She could just have write only without.
Yes, she don't mind about the folder. She just
Yeah.
need to write something to the folder, and also
It needs to be shared so Bob could read.
Yes, so Bob needs to read what inside this folder, and there is one more thing, a very important one.
Lots of patience.
Oh, it needs to be. The data needs to
Patience,
persist.
it could be a problem that
The data needs to persist between the levels, meaning like if.
No. What else, guys? I want to pass the information to Bob. Okay, Alice is one thing, Bob is another thing, and what else?
Way of communicating.
They are communicating through this folder.
What's the question?
we are trying to find the conditions that are necessary for this kind of attack to be conducted.
Yeah, you also need Alice and Bob not to be allowed to talk to break through the problem.
With a
Okay.
cooldown?
You would need time.
Very good. So try to find another one. It's related to timing. They need to.
Synchronize.
Yes, they need to synchronize. Okay, so that's the thing. Bob can check the folder, let's say once per minute. If the file is inside, so he writes one, so it's a bit of one, and if it's not inside during this period of time, it's going to be 0, and that's the third condition for making this kind of attack. Okay, so let me ask you another thing. Can you think about way to pass more information, not just one bit?
Multiple funds.
Okay, very good. Very good, file names. Okay. So you see, you can be creative, and there are ways to extract more from this kind of attacks. So that's about it. You see now Alice can leak top secret info to Bob, and the
I thought the whole point was like, why can't Alice just go meet Bob in a coffee shop and tell him all this information? Why do they have to do through filing? Isn't the whole point that Alice has been cleared for top secret?
it's not that simple, okay? Because let's say the information is a huge document and she can't remember, okay, everything, and she can even use a program instead of doing it.
But isn't the whole point that of this whole layers of confidentiality that the people at the top have been cleared, have that clearance?
Yes, but you see, now there are ways to bypass.
But only if you have access, only if the person at the top.
Yes,
wants
now
to
you
do
need
that.
Alice to get access to a document. She can't copy the document and write it down on the shared folder, but she can put a file in the folder, okay, instead. The file could be empty. The idea is that she, as I told you, just explained how it goes, okay? Guys, that's like now it's like a general concept. It's not all the details, but you get the idea. You get that there are ways to crack the system, to break the system, and to find ways to deliver information, and that's what is important. And of course, when we are using programs, we don't mind about time. We've got time, so if it's a top secret document, we will do whatever needed in order to get it. Okay, so that's the thing. So that's covert channels, and it's easy to eliminate covert channels. What is needed to be done?
Eliminate Alice.
Okay.
Eliminate the ability to create useless files.
Okay. But you don't know what is.
It's never cooldown. Like you can't create too many files per minute or something, whatever.
Okay.
Like once per hour, which will make it even longer.
Okay, that's a good idea. But in general, let's say we want to totally avoid.
You don't update the file system. As in, don't you take the.
You
random
got
file.
good ideas, but let's try to keep it simple.
You don't
So
have-
these ideas are very good. We are going to get in kind of ideas. But
You don't have a shared file system between levels.
yes, we need to eliminate all the sharings. Okay, so eliminate all shared resources. Okay, that's the idea. But of course, if we are going to eliminate shared resources, we are going to hurt the communication and usability. So there is a price. It's not going to be priceless. So virtually impossible to eliminate covert channels in any useful system. You see, you can also can use heat in order to pass information. So we are getting back to the start. It's very hard to eliminate the channels. So the DoD guidelines, in order to reduce the covert channels, they try to reduce the capacity. And I think you suggested that to no more than 1 bit per second, but still it's not enough to protect, as I told you, a small sequence like it did.
But what does that mean to reduce the covert channel? Because capacity no more than 1 bit.
So I can put 1 bit in less than 1 second. Like if I want to put a 5, I will need to wait a period of time till I can erase it or put another 5. Okay. So that's the idea, but you see, it's still a problem. So removing covert channels, as we discussed earlier, I told you that we are going to need a few conditions. So actually, it's 3 conditions, and it's the sender. He should be able to change things in the folder. Receiver should be read them, and they need to synchronize. Okay, so that's the 3 things. Remove one of them, we solve the problem of covert channels, and now we are coming to ways that you suggested. So we can add a random noise to the channel. Okay, so think about random noise relate to the heat technique that I just introduced to you.
If you make the heat go up at random times, then
Okay, how? That's true.
You run
Totally,
a-
agree, but
You run a high-powered program at different.
so you
Oh,
say
you can just change the
also
fan speed.
I can use the update mode of the operating system. Yes, always we update the computers and the programs, so I can run it randomly. And from time to time, I'm going to get the processor also getting heated, and that's a way to randomize in this specific case. Of course, I can let's say erase things from shared folders. So if I'm the IT manager, I can decide like that I'm erasing things. I can tell to the employees, these folders are going to be erased, so don't trust them. Use your own folders and don't trust the shared folders, just temporarily. So that's another way. And you can also here be creative and things more wave. Of course, to decrease the bandwidth of time-based channels, and audit the channel to see if someone is passing information. That it could work, but just on specific channels. Okay. Okay, guys. You can read. You can see the function here. So, what's the purpose of this function? What it's going to
Comparing two strings.
do?
Comparing two strings.
Very good. So it's going to compare between two strings, and okay. So what are the strings?
What?
Enter password, correct password.
Yes, it's going to check.
It's just going to see if
Check if the
any
password is
password
legitimate.
if the password is correct. Okay, and this function is going to be related to what we call side channel attacks. You remember that I told you when we are speaking about covert channels attack, we need someone from the inside. Now, there is no need for someone from the inside. We are going to execute the attack just by exploring the functions that in this specific example is the strconf, but just by investigating the functions that the security system use, and to find ways to attack the system, but it's going to be now physically. Okay, we are going to measure things like timing, power consumption, electromagnetic wave, or cache memory. Okay,
What is timing? What
you will see. Okay, very soon I'm going in this specific example explain everything. Okay, but this is the idea. The idea is now we are going to inside side channel attacks. We are going to look on the physical aspects of the system. So let's check out this function. And I told you about the weaknesses of the system, the physical weaknesses, and tell me in this function, like, what is the main weakness? What is the main physical weakness?
Memory allocation?
No,
What do you mean the computer allocates memory?
we've got a function. The function is going to compare two strings, okay?
It doesn't
in order to verify what is the proper password. In this function, there is some issue, which is a weakness of the function.
It checks them maybe one by one, so
Okay, so it checks the password. So think about the process of checking of how this function is going to check.
it just makes
and
them
pass.
public variables. And
Wait a second. How this function is going to compare the string, and what is the difference between a proper password to a wrong password? Okay,
if only the
correct
last,
password and the wrong password. What is the difference?
Just one letter.
Hmm?
Just one letter.
I don't know. Maybe all of it. I don't know.
oh, if you get to a certain point, correct.
What is I know it's not that easy, but what could be a difference? But physical
The length of each string.
The time that it takes to say if it's right or wrong. If it takes a
Okay,
longer time,
okay,
we have more.
okay, that's could be a direction.
The closer, more correct you are, the less time it'll take to show that you're right. Like the closer you get.
No,
The
so
longer it
actually
takes, the longer.
it is
The longer
going
it
to be
takes
the
to
longer,
do it.
right?
The longer
Because
you-
I'm going to stay in the loop.
Oh, you check. Okay.
Okay, so guys, you see how clever they are, all the crackers.
So the longer you are, the more time it'll take. The less time it'll take.
Yes, because I'm going to get out from the system, and in this specific implementation of the function, okay, that I can modify this the implementation and fix the problem. But here, what is going to be, if I'm correct, I'm going to stay in the loop. So it's going to take more time to get out. But if I'm wrong,
And you get out right away.
so I'm going to get out right away, and that's the idea. And you see, it is very nice because I can measure the differences between the times. It's let's say so I'm starting to guess the password. So I'm starting with the first character. If it is wrong, I'm going to get out. I'm going to measure the time, and I'm going to see what are the differences between the time periods of each character, and start to
Collect.
yes, start to build the correct password in this way. Okay, so it's quite clever. I hope you understand. And let me just show you a nice presentation of this idea.
Hey everyone, Joe Grant here with a demonstration of a timing. Hey everyone, Joe Grant here with a demonstration of a timing-based side channel attack on an electronic system. The board we're going to use for our demonstration today is this little G-shaped circuit board. This is what I use in my hardware hacking training classes. This particular board has some security mechanisms built into it. I'm not going to give away any secrets, but there is one mode that you can enter that I call the pin entry mode. And what this is the circuit is going to look for a 4-digit pin. And if you enter the correct pin, then the security will be defeated, and the circuit will turn into a game of Simon, the memory game. In order to enter the pin, you just push any of these 4 buttons down here. So let's try. Nope. Each button press gets stored as a byte in memory. The system will wait until the entire pin is entered, all 4 bytes, before it gets compared to the known good pin that is also stored in memory. This circuit, along with most other embedded systems, uses a standard memory compare function, like the ANSI memcomp, to perform the comparison. The way this function works is that if the first byte matches, then the second byte will be compared, and so on. But as soon as there is not a match, then the system is going to exit. What that means is the longer the compare routine happens, the closer you are to guessing the correct password. If you're able to exploit a timing attack, you can reduce the key space by a huge amount. For our situation, we have 4 buttons and a 4-digit pin. In a normal situation, we would have 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 equals 1,024 possible combinations for the pin. With the timing attack, if we're able to identify which is the correct byte along the way, we would try the first byte, make sure we guess that one properly before we move to the second byte, to the third byte, to the fourth byte. Then we can actually do 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 16 possible combinations. So what I have here is the circuit board in the pin entry mode. For purposes of the example, what I've done is used TP7, test point 7, to output a pulse that's directly related to the time of the actual compare routine that's happening inside the batch. So when we enter our 4-digit pin, we're going to see a pulse on the screen. The closer we are to the correct password, the longer that compare time is going to take, so the wider that width is going to be. Okay, so let's actually start the attack. Since we don't know anything about the pin, we're just going to arbitrarily choose the first digit. Let's do the upper left button, which corresponds to green. And now we see a pulse of 320 microseconds. We don't know if that's actually the correct byte or not, so let's try another one. Yellow. 315 microseconds. So those are close enough. That probably means both of these buttons are incorrect for the first byte. Let's go ahead and try blue. Don't worry that you can't see the LED. That's intentional. So we try blue, and now the width actually goes up to 465 microseconds. Let's try red. Now we're back down at 320 microseconds. So it looks like blue is the widest of the button presses, which means that's the first byte of our pin. So now let's try to figure out the second byte. So we're going to start with blue. Do blue, green, green, green. Now we're at 620 microseconds. Blue, yellow, yellow, yellow. 465. So we might have already guessed the second byte there. So let's just keep trying. Blue, 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 blue. 465 microseconds. Then blue, red, red, red. 470, so close enough. So it looks like blue, green is going to be our first two bytes, because now we're up to 620 microseconds. Let's keep going. Blue, green, yellow, yellow. 615, blue, green, blue, blue. Ah, we guessed it. Look at that. 775 microseconds, we got all the way and actually entered the game mode, so we didn't even have to guess all four. We just got lucky. That was a little bit of a contrived example because we had a test point directly exhibiting the time of that compare routine. So what if we don't have a pin like that? We'll have to do a little more reverse engineering on our target board, but we just need to find some sort of external stimulus that we can use to measure that timing difference of the compare routine. So let's do that same attack again, but this time let's look at the speaker output, because as we enter our pin, we hear the beeps of the button presses, there's a delay, and then there's that long beep at the end. So we should be able to measure the time between the last button press and that long beep to figure out the compare time. So we have this resistor here, it's a current limiting resistor that's going to the speaker. Now if we press some buttons, we can actually see the waveform that's driving the element. Okay, so I now have the scope set up that you can actually see the 4 button presses, the compare time, and then the long beep towards the end here. So what we have to do is manually measure the width from that last button press to the beginning of that long beep, and that indicates our compare time. This will change just slightly as we guess those correct bytes one by one. Taking the measurements can be a time-consuming process, so instead of boring you while I do it all, I'm going to speed it up. So here we go. All right, so we did it again. Got lucky just like last time where the last 2 digits were the same. So the final code, blue, green, red, red. And here are some of my notes of measuring the timings as we're trying all the different combinations. So this example was a very simple side channel timing attack against a very simple electronic device. But side channels exhibit themselves in all sorts of different devices out there. Pins on electronic locks and safes, password protection of debug and bootloader access on microcontrollers, a cryptographic hash being computed and compared as part of a secure boot process, just to name a few. Anything that retrieves and compares a password byte by byte could potentially have a timing imbalance that we could attack. We used a very manual process of measuring the time between things, but some of that could be enhanced by using a microcontroller or an FPGA, a field programmable gate array, for situations where you need to do a lot of measurements multiple times, more so than just a 4-digit pin. So with that, once again, my name is Joe Grand, signing off, and we're
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the short video. Okay, so it's actually did the same thing that I just explained, and could you think about a way to prevent?
Yeah,
Three tries.
Not necessarily 3 tries, but you could just have it compare the entire thing. But there's also a object that stores true or false, and it could only change to false once it's wrong. It just checks the entire password. If it's a letter that doesn't match up, it changes to false, but that doesn't stop the function from running.
Okay.
And then when the password's finished, then it returns that either true or false value. So it's going to be a set time every time.
So check
No matter what.
random characters to the end.
Or like in between every check, you add something also random.
Yeah, they're
In between every letter that's checked, you add something after that's random that makes all the
Okay.
thing or something.
Okay, so
What, is that what they fixed it really, or is there something else?
No, there are many ways, but the idea that you see people find always new methods to correct the system, so it's actually helpful.
No, because even if they do add, like, you have 3 tries, they can still, in the first 3 tries, can be very close and give you a lot of information.
Is it possible to ask what they're trying to accomplish with the first 2 lines of the function?
It's casting.
Not the above that, above the.
Supposed to be probably inside.
The function is not that important, okay? It's the idea of
I hate C++.
it's C.
I hate that.
It's probably supposed to be inside.
Same thing.
It's C, but like this is like very similar to C++. I love C++. Who are you?
Okay, guys. So now we are going, unless there are any questions. No. Okay, so now we are going to get back to authentication. Who are you? Prove it. Like what we are using for authentication usually. Passwords. That's correct. And passwords should be how to fake, right? How to fake, and
Hard to get.
okay, how to fake, how to guess, okay. And what else?
Random. Oh, long.
It's good if
Passwords should be hard to guess. That's really the.
1, 2, 3, 4.
but also easy to remember. Okay, so we
You
are
forgot your password.
so we are after all we are humans and
What you can do.
I have not remembered a password in the past except for one password. So I use a password manager, but you don't really need to nowadays
The best way to
remember
do
your password.
so we are going to speak about it. Okay?
You can think of a sentence and then remember the first letter from each word. of the
We are
sentence.
I'm going to ask you about ways
ask
to
your
remember
password.
and how to create a strong password. But before, let us try to say a few words about methods of authentication. So the way to identify someone is by using could be by using something that you know, like a password, or something like you have, like a token. Okay. Give me a simple example for a token.
Your phone. A phone.
Key.
That's the whole thing. A phone. They'll send you the password.
A key.
A key, right? A key. Yes, that a key to a door, right? That's the simple token that. Okay, someone you're inside your house, and someone's opened the house with a key. Most probable it's
the owner.
someone you know. Okay, it's
With an
not a
electronic key,
great
it also
possible.
lock to open.
Hmm?
With an electronic key, it also lock to open.
Okay, I'm just trying to keep things simple. So, okay, and something that you are. Okay, so something that you know, something that you have, something that you know. It also could be a secret or something. Okay, not just a password. Okay, so answer to a question, whatever. Something that you have, so it's a token, and something that you are, biometrics. Okay, so. Yes, okay, so we can use fingerprints or the retina, the iris. Okay, I'm going to also tell you a lot. Okay, so biometrics and it could also be two-factor authentication like ATM card and a PIN. Okay. Okay, very good. Yes. So I'm also going to tell you about
EMV.
Password.
Like EMV, the chip and pin.
Yes. Okay, so just remember something that you know, something that you have, and something that you are. We will try to combine these things. And now let's start with something that you know, which is a password. And passwords are the most popular approach. Okay, we use password everywhere and all the time. It is free and easy to distribute and to change. And as I told you, it needs to be easy to remember in order to be useful, and how to guess. So now, if you got like strong password, I would like to hear about that.
You want to know what password?
We can start.
And the class is being recorded.
Some of my passwords are just full-on sentences. It's a full-on sentence of things.
Okay.
I don't want to
Yes,
say what they
yes,
are.
movie.
Okay,
What is the
like,
length? Okay, so what
and
is
like
the
at
length?
least some of them are 50 characters.
50 characters.
Because it's a full-on sentence that I remember.
So what you do
Okay.
is you say something like,
So it could be a
text
text from a book or something like that.
I'm not going to tell you because
Don't, just the
could be,
general
yeah.
concept. What?
it could be, yes. That's what I generally.
Okay.
I use a password manager. So whenever I make a new password, I have a password generator that makes 60 characters of whatever random is, copy and paste it into there, and remembers it.
Okay. That's good, but you keep the password
master
somewhere,
key.
right? So how do you protect
With the password.
That's a password that's easy to guess.
We need to
It's password 1, 2,
get.
3, and then one more character.
Okay.
You got it.
Any more suggestions?
you think of something like you said, a sentence like facts don't care about your feelings. And you remember the first letter from each one.
If you want a bunch of money, that's how you get into his bank account, by the way.
You think I used that?
Don't know my
Okay,
experience.
Shapiro, he doesn't hate the Muslims and gays, man.
What do you want about?
Okay, guys, take it seriously. Okay, so you can remember the first character and then what?
Then you have a password that's random.
Okay.
Or what you could do is
Write it down.
tattoo it.
So you use just letters or numbers? You are going to use just letters.
It depends on the sentence. Sometimes I'll have
Everything.
different.
So you are going to remember like a 50 characters
It's a sentence.
password
It's a sentence.
for each account that you
It's a
you
sentence.
open?
Yeah, it's a different.
It
It could be from the
Different
same book.
one.
It could be from the same book. It's a sentence. Yeah.
How do you do your
I'm not gonna say what I. Like, it's not necessarily from a book per se. Like,
We'll figure it out.
So
I'm just sure you won't.
Okay, so I try to remember like random sequences. That's mine. I don't rely on.
Do you have the same password for every website, or is
No,
it
no,
password
I
every
remember,
website has
uh,
a password is
random
USC
sequences
to
and
Which should
something.
And if we are using
So-
like kind of
one QAZ two.
in that line.
Exclamation point in time.
Google will automatically,
I used to
most
have, like,
browsers will
SDF
automatically give
movies.
you a recommended
This
password
person.
that's random and then just store it for you. And then-
What? Google?
Or any
Google Chrome.
browser, any Chrome, any browser will do that for you.
Why was that? You have to store it somewhere with the password. At some point, right?
in-laws.
Yeah,
you
so
encrypt it.
or your computer unlocks it with your fingerprint or something. Or you can just have a list of tattoos. Facebook if you want to.
Password.
Yeah, I think
There's a really good
the best
website.
practice is to have one password that keeps everything, and then protect that one with two-factor authentication.
No, so there's actually a really good website. It's called
I think your
Password.
point is that there is no good
That
solution.
requires.
Actually, right. It is hard to deal with this password
Yeah, just
because
like if you're in
the
there,
main
it's
reason
like-
is that we don't have just one account, okay? So we need like different passwords.
Share more or less.
Yes. So it's that's the main problem. But I think I don't remember the name. Speaking by Ariel. So what is your method you are using?
I use
a generator. Yes, a password
Yeah,
generator.
and then
okay?
and I protect it all with one big password manager, and to that only I have a physical key that I can go into.
Okay, so that's
Keeps your password separate.
yes, you can also
Ariel, that's
encrypt
becoming
within
Yeah.
You know, passive aggressive password. If your in-laws were helping you, this is what they would say about your password.
Okay.
We're at-
Okay, so
discuss
let
that.
me show you another video.
That's a default password.
So
I was gonna
we're
mention
going
this in
to
our
see-
slide because that's how they broke into it.
באמת? אתם עדיין חולקים סיבים עם השכנים? מתקדמים לפאבר פיוטר פייבר, פרייבט פייבר. שני זוגות משקפי ראייה, רק ב-290.
What happens when they change it called two ads just? I don't understand. Sometimes they're two unskipped ads.
I mentioned earlier, they may have compromised the information of 43 million Americans, which is a lot of Americans. So in light of this, as a service to the public, we've actually done this before and it's very effective. We asked people who are passing by our theater today what password they use to protect their personal information. And pay attention, please, because there are a lot of important tips to be shared here.
We are talking to people about the cybersecurity breach at Equifax, and in light of that, we're asking people how secure their internet passwords are. What do you use for an internet password?
This is fake news.
You know, I usually stick to my last name. That's probably not the best thing to do, but I usually stick to my last name, a few digits, maybe like a hashtag or something, or
How do you spell your last name?
Walker.
Walker?
Yeah.
W-A-L-K-E-R?
Yeah.
And then just a few numbers?
Yeah, I probably should still do
And a
that.
hashtag?
Yeah.
The numbers like, what do you use, like your birthday or something, your area code?
Yeah. Like my birthday,
How old are you?
21. November. No, day, sorry, the 29th. Yeah.
So Walker,
I probably shouldn't say that, but
how strong is your internet password?
strong.
What sort of things do you use?
Capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, characters, everything.
What's a current password you're using?
I don't really want to tell the current password that I'm using, to be honest. Not necessarily. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, like 63XJ9. Basically, all characters, pretty random assortment. I just try to memorize.
That one?
Yes. In and out, 2017. My internet password is capital W @ TER capital B 0 NG water bomb.
Mine is the password, is okay?
Yeah.
Mila for what's MILR64.
Well, that's nice. Now Americans can hack into a Russian
no.
website. No, that'll be fun. So what is your name?
Jerry Reed,
Jerry, where are you from?
Whittier, California.
What do you do out there besides scare school children?
You know, things that I like.
What sorts of things do you like?
Maybe a dog, an animal, a place I've been, someone I know.
So like Rover mental ward.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, guys, so it's funny and
It's sad.
Yes. So if you want, you can read this Martin paragraph on us and passwords. And okay, so you can see here we've got an example of 61 common passwords, and a group with the name goes with the name Mirai. They managed to crack more than 400,000 accounts using just this 61 list of passwords. So you see, it's quite easy.
We're doing the DDoS one, so we mentioned it. It's do you mind if
very
I?
nice.
So they hacked into IoT devices, which are routers, VoIP phones, IP cameras, printers, etc. Mainly, it was guessing like people's common passwords, but it was also guessing the default passwords that they came from the factory. So if you bought a Lexmark printer and the default password is password or whatever it is, then that's what they found.
Yes, I'm also going to mention the default password, but you can see that just by using common passwords, it's very easy to crack a lot of accounts. So the way you can start with the common passwords, get what you get, then go to dictionary attack. You will get you are going to crack more accounts, of course, and then go to brute force, and you heard the name John the Ripper. So it's a highly popular cracker, and I think exercise 5, you are going to use it and crack some passwords. So, that's the okay. Yes, John the Ripper is an automated cracker, and it's run dictionary attack. Have fun. Okay, so you can see it's very easy. Another example is, I think it's the Mondial at Brazil. They were very proud on the highly protected security system that they built, and the thing is that they used a large sequence of large random sequence as a password. But the thing is, if the sequence is very large and random, what is the problem?
Hard to remember.
Yes, I need to write it down somewhere. So where did they write it down?
On their TV, and took a picture of it.
Actually on the screen, and it was like always there on the side of the screen. So if you watch the Mondial, you saw also the password. You can copy the password, and the next day, free Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, yes.
World Cup. Mondial World Cup.
Okay. So usually, as you could already see, user will pick a weak password. If you generate a strong one, they are going to stick it somewhere on the monitor or whatever. Force them to change it. They are going to use the old one. Yes, they are going to switch between two sequences and use the same one for many apps. That's why I asked you if you are using a very long password, if it's just for one account or many accounts. Okay, and they are also going to share the ideas with colleagues and expose the methods they use to remember or construct the password. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so how to attack passwords? We already, I already showed you a few methods.
It's phishing,
but we can also use phishing. How?
Email.
Email, and what we are going to email?
You go
URL.
login page.
Click on it.
Okay, but the URL is going to be from someone they trust, right?
Right.
It could be from the bank or from Apple. Yes, here in the specific example it's from Apple. So everything looks legit. It's it's something that we trust. We are going to enter the link, press the link, and then what is going to happen?
Another home page.
Okay, so what is the attack relates to this phishing? Phishing is how to get your click, yes? But what is the attack?
Your username and password.
What do you mean, like the phishing or?
It says change your
Oh,
password.
what
It
is
says like
CIA?
confirm
The
password.
phishing is one attack that we are going to, one method that we are going to get them press the link. But what is the real attack that is going to
Man in the middle.
man in the middle, right? So we are going to use man in the middle, and man in the middle is actually something that I already mentioned, and we are going to have a nice presentation, I believe.
Yes.
Yes?
Sorry, they have recorded.
Okay. So we are going to get them to enter the password and all the credentials and get everything. Also, default passwords, as you mentioned. I can also use a virus like keylogger, and when they press,
every key is recorded, sent to back.
and everything is going to be recorded and sent to my site. Also, password to be used. Yes, something that we mentioned. And social engineering. You saw already.
The Jimmy Kimmel video, social engineering.
Yes, you see when you are speaking in front of a camera,
You don't think.
you don't think. But actually, Kevin Mitnick, he used to pretend to be an IT member of the company. A cracker, a famous cracker. Okay, I mentioned his name. Okay. And he used to pretend to be one of the IT's members, and he went to the secretary there and told her, okay, tell me about don't tell me your password, but tell me about it, like what is the length and so on. And he told her, okay, it's very good password. Let me give you some guidelines, and let's try to build together a strong password. And he actually.
Oh, he's the one that gives like company consultant.
Yes, now he's a consultant, and he was a famous hacker, and actually he's sentenced, I think, for a few years inside. I don't remember how many years, but he spent time in jail. So that's the Mitnick. Now is a very famous security advisor. Okay, so you see there are many methods to get passwords. And now we're going to speak about password verification. So if you store the password in the clear, so let's say I've got a lot of passwords and I want to protect them. So how to protect?
You store the hash of the password and then you compare that.
Okay, so that's more advanced method, but in like very basic.
Is that a file and then put it in another
Yes, I
document?
can put them in the in a file and give someone the authority to access this file is the only one, and I don't know, to protect with one password. You see, it's very poor way to protect passwords, and this is called a single point of failure. Why? Because everything is going to be dependent on only one person or one password or whatever. Okay, so it's poor. And as you just suggested, we can use or store hashes instead. Okay, so we don't store the passwords. We are going to store the hashes of this password. This is something else. And what the attacker could do, okay, so we store the hashes, what the attacker could do.
He could, if he had a list of the most common passwords, he could generate a hash of those and compare the hashes.
Yes, exactly. So that's the idea. So attack, we can compute all the hashes of a dictionary, store them, compare, and then we can find the proper password. So of course it's a job and it's going to take time, but it's a one-time job and it's automated, so it's quite easy.
Question?
Yes.
Wouldn't we have to know the hash function before?
I need to.
The hash function. If
Yes,
want to do it
he can get the hash functions and then he can compare the hashes that he gets from the dictionary attack. Okay, so you've got the hash. You've got the hash.
Oh,
Now he tries. He take a word from the dictionary, compute the hash, and compare them. Just
what
as
the
he
hash
mentioned.
method is. So
If they use SHA-256 or something else.
If what?
how do you know which hash method they
So actually, it's something that we don't obscure, as I told you. It's something that you can get this information. Okay. So if you explore, you will actually will get the idea, because we use very specific methods. So it's not just they're inventing new hashes or new things. It's known. It tries. Okay, it will take a week, 2 weeks, whatever, month, but eventually it's going to crack the password. Yes. Question?
Okay. Yeah. We saw this on the homework the other day. I mean, we didn't use it, but when we were doing the symmetric encryption, we should have done the solving that
Okay.
We were doing some research. Like we didn't realize because all the tutorials were using salt and we didn't use it, so it was really complicated.
Okay, so now we are going to. I'm going to ask you how to make life harder for the attacker, and the way is to use salt. Okay, so now I can concatenate salt to the password, compute the password with the salt, the hash of the password with the salt, and keep the hash. Okay.
You just have like your own random code word.
Yes. So it's actually to add a random sequence of bits to my password. Okay, and the server, the site, whatever, the host is going to keep the hash of the password plus the random sequence of the salt. And actually it's 128 bits size, like in OpenBSD. I mentioned this system before. So it's very long, very hard to crack. It's still doable, but now it's going to be much harder. And another advantage that we are going to get from the salt is what relates to the password or keeping them.
You don't have to remember it. If it's added on.
Yeah, we don't remember the salt. We're just going to remember our password. It's something that the host is going to give us.
What makes it good?
Let's say we've got two persons with the same password.
Oh, they have different
It would do the same.
They are going to have different hashes, okay? And the attacker is not going to know that.
If they have different.
Okay, but of course the salt is not the same.
Salt is always different.
Yes, the salt is different.
I have a question. How does the software remember which salt used with each password, but when you type your password again, you compare the hashes to let you in?
So they store them together, and the site is going to be responsible for everything.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking, like, how does the software remember which salt used with each password?
They created that.
Then somebody can get into the database and get this salt.
Okay, but you don't know the host know how to relate. The attacker can maybe get the salt. Okay, maybe he gets the salt and the hashes. Okay, let's say he's got the salts and the hashes. Now he needs to try all the combinations of salt and hashes, and you see it's going to be very hard to guess. Okay. Another way to protect is to use slow hash functions. It could be a procedure of like more than one hash function, and it can take times. And the attacker, although he automated everything, still is going to be very hard to get. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so you can see here an example in some universities. They use a very restrict way to generate a password, and they actually demand these rules from the students, but still with the 10 to the 13 combinations, crackers manage to crack about 50% of the passwords. Okay, so you think you are sophisticated, you've got a strong password, whatever. It's still breakable and crackable. Windows 2003 password could be cracked by a computer using 1.4 gigabyte, which is actually my cellular now can do it. Okay, so you see, and they break it with less than 13 seconds. break password is not that hard, as you can see. There is another way we can use like more sophisticated methods of analyzing passwords. Okay, so now I can learn how people build their passwords. Okay, let's say I've got an algorithm, and the algorithm learns how they build the password. Like they use capital letters and numbers and specific combinations. Of course, it's different letters and different numbers, but the patterns are there. The algorithm learns, and then it tries to generate a password in the spirit of that of what he learned. Okay, so that's another way to create passwords. Let's stop here and